Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Simply Stupid Guy podcast with your host, Michael Peck. Now, before I start, this is my disclaimer. These are my thoughts and opinions, not thoughts and opinions of anybody else or any company that I may or may not work for. That being said, that if you don't like what I say, you can change the channel, you can do whatever you want. But if you like what I say and all that, go ahead, maybe subscribe, hit that like button. And I also have a Twitter account now, which is Simply Stupid Guy. And you can go there and you can follow me on there if you wish. Or you cannot, which that's fine too. I don't really mind. Uh, so I'm making one. I was gonna make one every week, but currently right now, I don't have a job because I had to end my contract with the company I was working for. Um, and it's actually really stupid what happened. So I'm gonna let you know what happened because one of the guys that watches my videos actually works for the company. So he might be interested why I haven't been there for 2 days. Actually, it's 3 days now. Okay, so what happened was I got a call from a tip agency that I work for saying that the company didn't need me to come in that day. So I was like, okay, that's fine. As I ended, and I asked them if it was just for the day, and they were like, yeah, just for the day. I was like, all right. So I was figuring because of the weather. Well, next day comes around, and actually it was a couple minutes later, and it's like, no, it's until further notice. I'm like, okay. Well, how long is it gonna be? He's like, well, we don't know. It's like, are you gonna find out? I was like, no, not really. He's like, all right. So I had to call the company myself, which I'm not supposed to do, but I did it anyway because I needed to find out. Turns out that it's really strange. Turns out that they were holding on to my contract, so I couldn't get another job until their workload ramped up, and they said the workload wouldn't ramp up until the beginning of the year, which is really weird considering that there's a lot of work to be done. Yeah, so it was BS excuse, but basically saying it, and this is the way I'm taking it, as it's like, well, we don't want you to work for us, but we don't want you to work for anybody else, so you can't make any money to feed your family. So I was like, yeah, you can just end my contract. I'm not gonna deal with that. You're holding on to my contract. You're holding on for me making money. Is what it basically turns out to. So I'm gonna keep working with the tip agency for the moment, if that. But I'm gonna start. I'm gonna get me a real job. I'm gonna get me really applied to something. And in the meantime, I might work for another tip agency that does jobs by the day, which means that I'm also gonna be doing this as well. Now it's just kind of Christmas time, so and I have money, so I'm not too worried about it. I have enough money to make it for a month, maybe a little bit more. Not 100% sure, but as long as I keep my bills paid and all that, I'm fine. Uh, so going on, what's going on in the news? Let's see. I'm happy with Alabama not voting in Roy Moore, even though I side Republican. Just the allegations that are against him, and just that there's so much against him that the probability that he did what he did is very high, especially because he said that he didn't know the women, then he did know the women, then he turned back around and said, I never met the women. Uh, it put in that fact that, all right, you know what's going on. You're trying to play it off. Uh, and he should have just resigned. The Republican Party should have just not backed them. Maybe got somebody else in there. I mean, somebody else in there that people could write in. So yeah, it's a one less seat in the Senate for Republicans. But you know what? I'd rather have. I was like, I wouldn't want the Democrat in there because he doesn't view same views as I do. But at least you don't have somebody in there that's a potential pedophile. And the allegations behind it are so credible. There's just enough behind it that I wouldn't vote for him. My moral standard is no. If you're be a rapist or a pedophile, it's no. I'm not going to vote for you. I'll vote third party before I vote for you. That's just plain and simple. And I don't typically vote Democrat either. So democratically, I wouldn't vote democratically because they don't. A lot of their ideology doesn't add up with mine. The only one that really adds up with mine is marijuana, cannabis. But other than that, I don't share the same ideology and the same policies as they do. And then the other thing is the Democrat that retired and it's still going on that the women are wrong. No, dude, I think the women are right. You grabbing asses and stuff like that. That's something like I did when I was in middle school. Just grabbing random girls' asses. That's something I would do in middle school because I didn't know any better. But I'm an adult now. You've been an adult longer than me, and you've been doing that. Yeah, that's not acceptable, man. It's not acceptable that I did in middle school either. But I stopped doing that. You going on up there in age, you still doing it. And you know what? At least I'm honest enough to admit that I did something stupid when I was young. Yeah, I done a lot of stupid shit when I was young. That, but I don't do it now. I have my own girl. I have my own family. I don't need to do that. I don't need another girl. I don't need another girl. I don't care about another girl. I got mine. That's who I love. And that's just how it's going to be. Now we're going on with the net neutrality that's going on in the news. People are freaking out about it. Well, let's put it this way. Net neutrality, it wasn't there when the internet started. And it only came about during the Obama presidency. Now, everybody's afraid that, we're going to lose our internet. Not necessarily. I mean, let's put it this way. When you got big corporations, which this is the crazy part, people always about not having let big corporations do stuff. When big corporations like Google and Facebook and stuff like, oh yeah, we want net neutrality. We want it. There's a reason behind it. Because they're getting a kickback somewhere down the line. And the people always say, it's like, well, Netflix takes up most of the bandwidth. We should charge Netflix more for bandwidth. Well, you know what will just happen? Netflix will raise their prices on their subscriptions and people will stop buying Netflix. And they'll go to something like, they'll go to some other streaming like Hulu or something. And then they'll end up getting more bandwidth. And then they'll jack up their prices because they're being paid more. People aren't very smart about this. It's like, you don't fucking understand. And a lot of people say they do understand. Like, no. If they make it where they're going to jack up the prices of people that do more streaming and get more views, then those people are just going to jack up their prices. And then people are going to be like, well, I can't afford this, and just end it. And then YouTube won't be free. Yeah, YouTube won't be free. They're already trying not to be free. So, there you go. YouTube will add more ads in there, or they're going to take away content, or they're just not going to make it free anymore. So let's think about this. Let's be smart about this. Even the YouTubers that are agreeing and telling other people that they're idiots. Yeah, I'm not saying you're an idiot. I'm just saying you're misinformed, or you're not thinking about this rationally, or you're getting paid not to think about this rationally. What's the other thing? Oh, news media coverage of Donald Trump all the time. Look, I understand Donald Trump. He's an idiot. I'm an idiot. That's why I have a podcast called Simply Stupid. But you have to give Donald Trump where credit's due. And also, his eating and his drinking habits, does it really matter that much to the American people? No, it doesn't. Nobody cares. You want a news story because you won't like Donald Trump, so you want to say anything you can. Here's also the other thing. I was watching the news for like the first time. It was Insider Edition. And the thing on there is Netflix watching what you watch? And I'm going, if this is a news story and people are fucking freaking out, then you're an idiot. Netflix has a recommended, which means that all the stuff that you watch, it gets put into their system, and that system kicks out, hey, this might be something you want to watch because you watch this. And this, and this, and this. It doesn't make that recommendation. I mean, it has that recommendation at the beginning, too. But it's varied. It's like all this other stuff. Like, it's all their new shows, all that. But as you start watching stuff, they start kicking things off, putting things on to match what you're watching, because they're trying to get a feel for you. All right. I think you got to think about it. All right, they get rid of TV shows and movies every month, and they put new ones on because they pay attention to what their customers consume. So they know, well, these don't get very watched very often, so we kick these off to make room for these shows that people may or may not watch based on what they watch now. And YouTube does it too. YouTube has a recommended. They they go through everything that you watch. Like, I know this because I watch a lot of YouTube. It's like, here's what I watch. It's like, if I watch a lot of gaming videos, they start throwing gaming videos on there. If I watch a lot of political videos, they start throwing a lot of political videos on there. That's how it works. They're recommending based off of what you're watching. It doesn't take a genius to understand that's how it works. So yes, any streaming video thing that has a recommended is paying attention to what you watch. And it might not be a person, but it is a computer system knowing what you're watching and turning around and figuring out an algorithm of what you watch to what you might like to watch. And then they give it to you. It's plain and simple. It's not very hard. It's not newsworthy. It's just that some people are not very bright to understand that's how it works. I'm not very bright, but I understand how it works because I'm an idiot and I'm stupid. All right, next thing is about this mother making a video of this. I don't know if he has a mental disorder. It seems like it, or he had a very bad head injury, judging by the scar on the side of his head, of him crying and being bullied. Let's go in with the first thing. This kid has no father in his life because the dad would have been pissed off as shit as the mother making the video. Either that or the dad is a pussy. Because if that was my kid and he was crying because kids were making fun of him because of his mother having a Confederate flag, being in pictures with Confederate flags and drinking, first of all, my kids would be like, your point being? It's like pride of the South. You don't care. You're gonna make fun of us because of what? Because we have a flag. We have the Tennessee battle flag hanging up. Yeah, we're proud. We're proud Southerners. We don't care. That's just plain and simple. Of course, where I live at, majority of people have that in their backyard and they don't care. I mean, where I live at, it's like four of my neighbors are just older black people. Nice. I mean, they don't talk much to me, and I don't really talk much to them. But I don't have a Confederate flag in my backyard. Not because I don't want to. It's just that, I just don't need to. I would have maybe a "Don't Tread on Me" one hanging, but I don't have money for a flag, and really, it's not my house. I'm renting it, so I really don't care. And most people out in the country, they don't care about these political issues because it doesn't really affect them because they see it every day. And typically people out in the country, up in the mountains and all that, that's just something we have, something we do. We don't care. We let people be themselves. It's in these cities and on social media and colleges where it matters because it's your image. Your image represents you. I know this because I grew up in a city. And my mother's she lives out in the country, but she grew up on that. It's like your image is you. People see your image. So you have to dress nice. You have to look nice. You have to act a certain way because that's what people see and that's what people want. Well, here's the thing. I'm not fake. I'm not unreal. My image is me. I'm going to tell you what I think. And I'm going to tell you how I think about it. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you because lying always comes back to bite you in the ass, especially in a job. You're going to lie about something. Eventually it gets found out and then you get in trouble anyway. So I might as well tell the truth because most companies like, oh, well, you fucked up, but you told me the truth. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, just let it go. We don't care. Sorry about that. It's annoying me. I can see it in the video, so you can see it in the video. Uh, so I don't care about that. And the way I dress. How do I dress? Typically, right now, because I'm a little bit chubby, so I can't fit in my jeans. I'm wearing camouflage pants, uh, boots, and a t-shirt. That's it. I mean, right now I'm wearing sweatpants and a jacket. I got my Punisher on underneath. But that's just me. That's just how I dress. That's how I wear. Uh, I used to be clean shaven because of my job. I worked as a correctional officer, and then I worked as a manager, which had to be clean shaven. Now I typically wear a goatee, or as you see, kind of getting a beard going. I typically keep my head shaved, but I do grow it out. Sometimes I put a mohawk. Sometimes I just grow it out for a little while, then I shave it all off. Especially during wintertime, I kind of grow it out because it gets kind of cold up here. I do the same for my kids. When it gets hot, we shave it. When it's cold, we just trim it. Uh, but it's just how it is. What else am I going to talk about today? I don't know. It's just kind of, I'm at home. My little one's asleep. Uh, he's apparently, we try to get him in some classes. He's apparently really gifted enough. The only thing that's holding him back is the only thing that they say is bad about him is his speech. He's a little bit slow on his speech, but they said there's no need to put him in preschool. So until he turns 4, he's just not going to be in preschool, which is fine. I can deal with that. Just work on him on his speech. That's it. He's good. His motor skills are good. He's actually, wanting the potty train, which is awesome. So yes, diapers getting out of there. Yeah. What else? What else is there to talk about? Man, I don't know. Christmas is coming up. I was worried about, what I was going to do for Christmas. Uh, Now what I'm going to do is, I could probably go see my family before Christmas and then come back up here and have Christmas with her family because they're very adamant about theirs. But that all depends on the weather. I live up mountains, so if it snows, I'm not going anywhere or coming back anywhere. Tomato, tomato. Not really worried about it. I got the money. I got the time. I do whatever I want now. Um, as far as jobs, what am I gonna do for jobs? What am I gonna do for work? Well, making YouTube videos right now. Um, but I'll get something. Not really worried about it. I mean, look at my face. Do I look like I'm worried about a job? No. I've been going through this cycle for the past 2 years. It's shit. It sucks. I'll get past it. This is probably just karma biting me in the ass for how much of a dick I was through middle school and high school. So I'm not too worried about it. I'll make it. What else is there? I want to do some other videos. Like I want to do workout videos, like me working out, because I am kind of fat. I am kind of chubby, and I want to get in better shape, especially for my kids. Uh, I mean, right now, I'm pretty much I drink water and milk is mostly what I drink. Uh, I do drink sodas every once in a while, but especially now I drink a lot of water. Especially when I'm working, I drink a lot of water because it's free. Water's free. Um, that's not true. I have to pay for water here. Sucks because I hate being on where I'm on town water. I don't like town water. I'd rather be on well water. Well water's free. Yeah, still I'll put in a filter before I drink it, but it's free. Um, my kids they drink mostly water or milk. Um, because that's what doctor says. It's okay. I don't care. They don't seem to care. They don't seem to mind. Other than my stepson, because he goes somewhere else and they give him sodas and all that, and that's what he wants. But it's like no. All right. So far we're 20 minutes in, and I've covered everything from why I'll be able to make more videos to what's going on in politics, the news media, which news media is slowly going downhill. Mainstream news, way to go. Most people would think it was because I vote typically on the right and Republican. I watch Fox News. Truth of the matter is, I don't. Why? Because Fox News is owned by the Saudi Arabians, the same people that gave money to the Clinton Foundation. Um, so, do I trust Fox News? No, I don't trust CNN. If you're a major news network and you come on TV, I don't trust you. Why is that? Because you have an underlying opinion and you're biased about it. I don't mind. I don't mind if you're biased, but at least own up to your biases. Don't sit there and say you're unbiased when you aren't. The other thing I don't like about news media is the people that are sitting there reading you the news say, "Oh yeah, we're journalists." No, you're paid actors to read somebody else's work. That's what you are. Not stupid. If you believe that these people are going out and interviewing, when's the last time you saw a CNN host walking down the street of New York asking you questions, looking for shit? Never. When was the last time you seen Fox News doing it? When was the last time you saw Bill O'Reilly? Which you don't see Bill O'Reilly anymore because, yet again, he had a thing for blondes in the workplace. And when was the last time you saw Bill O'Reilly interviewing somebody out on the streets? Doing some investigation, looking into Wall Street. Never. Because they're paid actors. They're basically they're like Hollywood actors, except for they're on the news. Like they have a hit TV show, but it's news. We call it news. News. It's not news. It might be news. Sometimes it's news. Most of the time, it's somebody's political opinion about something going on in the world that doesn't really fucking affect you. That's it. Donald Trump watching TV for 8 hours and drinking diet soda. That's most of America. Most Americans do that. That's why we have an obesity problem. It's not rocket science here. I hate to see that there's a bunch of people on the news like, Donald Trump drinks 8 fucking sodas a day? And he watches 8 hours of TV? Oh my God! He's gonna die. He might. Of course, yet again, he's the president. Presidents have a tendency of being shot at. I mean, that's typical of any president. They have the likelihood of being shot. I mean, before he became president, people were pulling guns out at him. I mean, while he was going through his campaign, people pulled guns out trying to shoot him. I mean, let's look at the White House when Obama was president. Had 2 people jump the fence and make it to the White House. One of them made it inside. Yeah, he has a likelihood of being shot. It's there. Anytime you're president of the United States, you have the likelihood. It's likely. Why? Because there are people out there that are crazy, that don't understand that he's the president. He's the president of the United States. All right, you know what that means? That means he's currently the mascot for the next 4 to 8 years of the United States. That's basically it. I didn't want Obama as president, but there he was. Did everything collapse? No. Shit got bad for a while, but nothing collapsed. We still went to work every day. We still paid our bills every day. And we made it through. Now we have Trump. Not the best president in the world. Not yet again. Hasn't shown to be the worst. He's made it almost a full year as president. Yeah, he's now starting to do shit, but yet again, he so far hasn't been the worst president. He just hasn't been the best president. And you know what? I'm not really too worried about it. I mean, yeah, shit's bad, but it's getting better. It's getting really better, so I'm not really too worried about it. Just let it go. It's what it is. And I think we just need to stop. We need to stop putting everything and classifying everything culture. And I watched that video. It's of the newsroom, and the guy sits there, and the little college girl has like, "What makes America great?" And the other one guy goes, "Freedom and freedom." So then eventually the guy makes a big rant. It's like, America is no longer the greatest country in the world. And the truth is, America's always been America is one of the greatest countries in the world. All right, we spend more money on defense budget than the other 25 countries combined, 23 of which are our allies. And people say that's a lot of spending. What you also don't understand is we also spend money on other countries. We pay for other countries' defenses, military defenses, like Sweden. Yeah, we actually give money to other countries for their military. So that comes out of our military budget. So if you think about it, maybe if we cut back on giving money to other countries for their military and let them fend for themselves, that maybe our military budget would drop dramatically. That's a possibility. Also, we stopped giving money to the UN. That'd work too. Because the UN is just a glorified people that tell you what you can and cannot do in warfare. Which it's warfare. The enemy will do whatever it takes to win, and you're bound by your hands. Your hands are bound behind your back, and you're fighting a war, but you can't use tactics in war. Like you can't use same tactics you used in World War II because of the UN today. What does that mean? That torturing. We can't torture them. Waterboarding is torture. Waterboarding is the imaginary effect of somebody drowning to get information out of them. As I look, people don't understand war. I've met a guy, and I know of a guy who went to war. He was in the American Army. They had an American translator, and he had pictures with this guy. And when you ask him about what happened to this guy, what happened was that they found out that he was an informant for the Americans. So what they did is they went to his house. They took his wife and his children, skinned them alive, and drew a snake with the Jewish star above it. All right, so they skinned his family alive and killed him. Took him, tied him to the back of a truck, gutted him, and drove him through the streets. And we're supposed to be civilized against people like that. This still goes on to this day. Yeah, you go to the Middle East, they still throw Christians off top of rooftops. They still behead gays. It's what they do. Because they still live in 2,000 years in the past and haven't moved up to how we are now. America is no better. Some things that people don't know about. Like everybody talks about white people own slaves. Some black people own slaves. Yeah, I know this because some Confederate generals were black. Some of the people that founded this country were black. They were in Congress. They were senators. They were congressmen. They were rich. They were plantation owners. They were black guys that owned black people. America is one of the first countries to stop the importation of blacks in the 1800s. It wouldn't be until about 40 to 60 years till most other countries in the Europeans, that includes, places like Europe, France, Spain, Italy, stopped the importations of blacks. So America was one of the first to stop. Now we were one of the last to end slavery, but we probably wouldn't have ended it anytime soon unless the Civil War happened. Only because it was a turning point in the war for Abraham Lincoln to win the war. He wrote the Gettysburg Address not to free slaves because he had no intention of freeing slaves during his presidency. He did it because they were sinking English ships that were supplying the Confederate army with artillery and supplies. And England was getting pissed at it. But considering that England at that time hadn't had free slavery for 40 years, if they joined the war after the Gettysburg Address, they would have been hypocritical and they would have lost a lot of business with other countries. So instead, they decided to stay out of it on that simple basis. A little history lesson, you can pick it up anywhere. Probably not from Google unless you search through a bunch of shit to find it, because Google is like that. The reason why I know about this is because instead of listening what they showed you in school, I went out, found books, read about it. If you really you got to really look into the Civil War if you want to know about the Civil War. I mean, that's why I doubt 30% of Civil War fought about freeing slaves. Most of the other part of it was about equal representation and taxes and all that, and Congress. Because fact is, all right, we talk about the 1/3 rule, and one third rule that happened in the South, which stood for representation of congressmen, because congressmen nowadays are still based on like population size. So X amount of population equals to X to Y amount of Congress people. That's how your Congress is based, about how much population size is in your state. So that X amount of people represents the Y amount of people that need to be in Congress. That's just how it happens. So that's where the 1/3 rule came about prior to the Civil War, that every black person counts as 1/3 of a person. Because if they didn't do that, then the South would win a population Congress, so they would have control of the Congress. Instead, they want to try to even it out, so not too much power was there. The other thing is, the North was mostly, and still is, factories. They don't have a lot of agriculture there. South very big in agriculture. So what was happening was South was being taxed a lot for stuff that they needed that was factory wise that you couldn't get in the South. Now it's a little bit different because anybody can open a factory anywhere, and you can make a greenhouse anywhere, grow whatever you want. So a little history lesson about it, but it comes back to the culture, and it comes back to that. What makes America great is culture and diversity. That's what makes us great. Other countries, they don't have that culture, that split. It's good that we have a culture and we're diverse. Even though the majority is still white, but we still have a culture. Everything about us is culture-wise. The only thing that we really have is like we take from other countries' culture. Still to this day, rock and roll, rap, and all that. That's not American. That comes from other countries. Jazz is the only thing that America has produced music-wise. But even our movies come from European movies, like Death at a Funeral. The one for America is we have Chris Rock and Martin Lawrence in it. I believe Martin Lawrence is in it. I know the guy from Lethal Weapon, the black guy from Lethal Weapon, he's in it. A couple other actors, I don't really know who they are. Was Martin Lawrence in it? I can't remember. But the original movie is an English movie with a bunch of English actors. So if you actually pay attention to a lot of movies that we watch, a lot of our TV shows and our movies were already pre-produced in England. And then Hollywood decided, like, all right, well, we'll take that concept, we'll pay for that, and we'll just switch up the actors. We'll switch up all the actors, same plot line, same, every character's name, same, everything same. We just make it more American and take out the English out of it. So we're not even first coming in our movies. Probably the only movies that we have that are really original is Star Wars, Star Trek, and the Marvel and DC movies. That's it. Most of our stuff comes from other cultures, other countries. Even the food we eat comes from other cultures, other countries. The designing of houses, I mean, it all comes from ideas of other countries. So say America is the first in everything. Yeah, you would be lying, because America is not the first in everything. It's like, yes, at one point in time we were one of the most smartest countries and most technology, but that's not true anymore. Yeah, we still have we're still the biggest military power, but we've dropped off the map. We're not the most religious country. And religious doesn't mean Christianity. That means all religions. Not everybody in America is not religious. They're religious to a point, but they're not religious. Like, you don't see a lot of Christians going to church on Sunday. Especially a lot of younger people. They don't go to church every Sunday. I don't go to church because I come from a Christian family, but I'm not really that Christian. I'm not that Christian belief. You don't see a lot of Jews go to synagogues, especially younger, with Orthodox Jews, like Ben Shapiro does. very religious. Only the very religious do those things. But not a lot of people are religious. And the other problem with that is that since a lot of people aren't very religious, they're not doing it by the same moral standards, especially in politics. They want to vote for somebody to keep somebody else out. No, we need to vote people in for moral reasons, moral standards. If you take away that moralness, it's not going to work anymore. Same thing. I mean, we go all the way back to the beginning of our country. The country is founded on Christian beliefs. On Christian beliefs. Not on Christian religion, but on their beliefs, which is their moral beliefs. They believe killing is wrong. They believe raping is wrong. They believe stealing is wrong. That's where our laws are based off of. No killing, no stealing, no raping, no pedophiles. It's a belief. A moral belief. Everybody has a moral compass. And, that's where it stands. I want to keep my moral compass, as true as I can. Which, unfortunately, that's why I don't like Hollywood. That's why I don't like the news media. And that's why I don't like politics. Because they don't stay to their moral beliefs. Their moral compass is so screwed up. Like, I think, if you're a child molester or a rapist and it's 100% evident that you are, I think you should be crucified. Don't think you should die right away. I think you should be crucified. Why? Because if you rape somebody, you ruin their life to begin with. I had a friend in high school. She got raped. And the crazy thing about it was the people that went to school there, they made it seem like it was her fault. And, they're like, well, if she didn't go party with these people, that wouldn't have happened. Yeah, if she didn't party with those people, it wouldn't happen. But that doesn't excuse the people that did it. And she didn't come to school for the last 3 months of that year. Actually, I don't really know what she does now. I mean, I met her, let's see, I was about 16 at the time that happened. It wasn't until I was about 19, 20 that I ran into her. But she does really well. She was doing pretty well at the time, but, she completely changed from the person like I knew her as. Like, she wasn't, that same kind of person. So it changes things. I also have some people in my family that had something like that happen to them, and they're not going to be the same. It might, some of them, because one of them have really young when they're really young, so they're not really know about it. So nobody talks about it. That way we keep it out of them. So hopefully it doesn't mess with him psychologically as he grows up. Because if we keep it away from him, keep it out of his mind psychologically, it'd be kind of like locked away. Like, to him, it would be like a dream. He wouldn't really realize that it happened. And the other problem is if he does find out, it could crush his reality as he knows it. It could really mess him up. Because, like, I've worked on a lot of criminals, watched a lot of criminal shows, a lot of, how stuff happens. And it's always a traumatic event and a head injury that causes people to do what they do. Some people are born like that, born with that intent in there. I mean, Ted Bundy was born with the intent, and they don't really know what caused it, but they know he was born with it. Most people are born with that intent, but they're raised not to be. I know that this is like a Demi Downer video, and I'm kind of hitting on a couple of different subjects because, I've had a couple of days and I'm making this video and I'm just making it to make it. And I'm just kind of going from one subject to the other. I'm just rambling. But I think I'm going to end this now, about 40-minute video. So, word of advice for today is free your ass, your mind will follow. You can take that however you want, but it basically means free your mind, your ass will follow. So, with that being said, this is the end of the Simply Stupid Guy podcast for today. I hope if people are watching, which I know more than one person is, I hope you enjoy this video. and I will be on sometime. Maybe not tomorrow because tomorrow's Saturday, so I'll be with the kids. So it'll be maybe Monday. I don't know. It depends on what I got going on. But auf Wiedersehen, goodbye, adios. Have a happy day. And peace.